Yeah, what's up everybody? It is Wednesday. Today is April 14th. I said yesterday was April 14th. Today is April 14th. So we got a lot to talk about today. Coinbase, bank earnings, the outlook for the market, oil. All right, let's start off with Coinbase. IPO happened today. I bought a little bit, a small position. It came out, it opened at like 400. It went up to almost 430. Then it started coming down. And I had an order to buy just a small position at 350. I got filled, it went down below there. And we'll see what happens. It closed below 350. I took a little bit at 350. We'll see what happens. Bank earnings. Banks blew out their earnings. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs blew out their earnings very, very strong, as I suspected. And the good news is yet to come. I feel the good news is yet to come. I see it in the bank data. For example, consumer loans starting to pick up again, the rate of contraction. Now those things were contracting at the fastest pace in 11 years, 10, 11 years. That rate of contraction is moderating, and there's been a pickup in consumer loans. So that I think is a, kind of a good barometer as to what is happening in the economy. Look, I said it's a slow turnaround. We need to open up the economy. A lot of it is still closed, so that's good. Yesterday I talked about, I think I mentioned that data out of the port of Los Angeles, that is the biggest port in the United States, showed that delays peaked in February, and now the situation is starting to, again, improve. So that's good, all right? Now I read something online, Bank of America has a negative outlook for the stock market, and their analyst, I forget her name, she said all the good news is priced in. And I'm like, really? I mean, all the good news, like the reopening of the economy, ongoing stimulus, she says, well, the stimulus is peaking out. It doesn't peak out. The level of spending is going to stay right where it is. And we're not even talking about, like, look, Biden has proposed the infrastructure bill, the infrastructure plan. That still has to be decided. I'm not even looking at that right now. And I said if that happens, we're talking about sustained 6.5%, 7%. 7.5% GDP growth. But unless we see a fiscal policy situation that entails spending cuts, all right? If you're spending at this level, and this is an historic level, and you're not cutting, and they're somehow saying, like, if it's not going up all the time, then somehow that's negative. That is not true. I mean, you have to look at prior levels of fiscal support, which were significantly below where we are now. So even if it's true that spending has ramped up and now it is plateauing, at least for now, that's still fiscal support of a major dimension going into the economy. I mean, this idea that it's all priced in, again, remember I did a video, like, don't try to be slick. Don't try to be slick. Like, good news is good news. This all priced in, I'll tell you when it's all priced in. When they start to cut. When they start to go to fiscal consolidation. When they say we got to balance the budget, when spending actually comes down, when they're removing income from the economy. Think of it again like that. I always like to use the swimming pool analogy. All right? The fiscal stimulus was like filling up the level of the swimming pool. The swimming pool was way down because of the pandemic or whatever. For whatever reason, the level of the water was way down. The government added more water, more income, more financial assets, raised up the level of that water. Now, even if they stop filling it up, the water is at the peak level of the swimming pool. It's not coming down. If they start draining it out, all right, if they go down there and pull out the plug, or if they reverse the flow on that fiscal pump and actually start draining the water out, yes, I would agree with that. You got to go short. You got to get into cash. You got to stay out of the market. You got to, buy something defensive. So what, this analyst, and I'm sure there's a lot of them like that on Wall Street, trying to be too slick, priced in, baked in, right? They use all these metaphors. Anyway, so you had that going on. What else did I say? Oil. A very bullish, I wouldn't say very, a bullish Eia Petroleum Report today. Demand increasing. Crude inventories coming down. They are now negative year over year. That's the first time we saw this in at least over, I think it's like 14 months. That's the first time in 14 months that we see crude inventories down year over year. Gasoline inventories are down almost 11% year over year. Like if we have a big summer driving wise, we may see a big pop in gasoline prices. Although I will point out that gasoline production is at a fairly high level. So we might see some inventory build going into the summer. The only thing I would say about the EIA report today was that crude exports kind of on the soft side. All right, kind of weak. Product exports were good. Crude exports were on the kind of weakish side. So I would say that limits the upside in prices right now. You're looking at what, 64, 65 maybe on WTI. I know that producers, they were sellers up at that level. So I wouldn't think it's going to go much higher than that. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks with the economy coming back and with inventory starting to come back down. What else? Gold. I mentioned gold. I think I mentioned gold in a video recently that in the last week we saw producers come back in on the sell side, which means gold right now probably capped around $17.50, $17.60 an ounce. Producers are sellers again. So kind of a trading range situation, I would say. I suspect they're going to be buyers down in the 1700 level or below. They're going to be sellers up at 1750, 1760. So we saw gold pull back today. Dollar is weaker. All right, this is a constant theme that I talk about. And so yeah, Coinbase, man. And again, my whole how should I say it? My rationale or my theory of these cryptos and like digital currency, like what China's doing, it is a manifestation, I'll say it again, it is a manifestation of U.S. policy to block countries from the global dollar-based financial system. Anyway, I put up a new podcast. Check it out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.